Hi, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to review a recent trip to the Royal Inn in Midvale, Utah. I will tell you all about our not-so-royal stay in the royal dump of a hotel experience. Stay tuned right here with the Sassy Girl Dad.
He's got a sparkle in his eye, dancing through the day. With every little laugh he finds a brand new way. His daughters sing and play, they're the stars of his show. Riding on a rainbow, together they will glow. He's the one who lifts them high. In his heart they all will fly. Sassy Girl Dad, rocking the stage with his daughters by his side, breaking every cage. Together they will shine, brighter than the sun. In this crazy world, they're always having fun. Enjoy the day.
Alright, my wife and I recently took a trip to Utah on a rare weekend without the kids. Trying to save a dime, I booked a room for a few days at what seemed to be a great deal. Less than $50 per night. Yes! Seemed like a great place since we would not be spending much time in the hotel and just needed a place to keep our things and a bed to sleep. I picked the Royal Inn located in Midvale, Utah, being ranked a 2-star hotel. Really didn't expect much. But let's review the description on the Expedia website. I would use their own website, but they don't have one. Mysterious. So according to the website on the Royal Inn, it's located in Mid-Valley. I'm pretty sure it's Midvale, but let's go with it. At Royal Inn, you can look forward to dry cleaning, laundry services, a gym, and a business center with amenities like downhill skiing and a ski shuttle. This hotel is a great place to hit the slopes, stay connected with free in-room Wi-Fi. You'll also enjoy the following perks during your stay: free self-parking, express checkout, a 24-hour front desk and free newspapers, an elevator, smoke-free premises, and a front desk safe. Guest reviews give good marks for the overall value and location. All rooms feature comforts such as air conditioning, as well as thoughtful touches like free Wi-Fi and room service. Guest reviews say good things about the clean rooms at the property. Extra amenities include bathrooms with rainfall showers, and a tub combination, flat screen TV, with premium channels, coffee and tea makers, heating, and daily housekeeping. With that being said, however, let's take a look at what I should have seen before booking a room in the King's Royal Dumpster. So a lot of these reviews are within the last month, so let's keep that in mind. But some do go back as far as 6 months. 2 weeks ago, hotel said zero smoking, but everywhere all a person could smell was cigarette smoke. Rooms were big, but blankets had holes in them. The bathroom toilet seat was loose and slid everywhere. Cheap soap that disintegrated almost instantly. Shampoo, just about as cheap as the soap. Service was horrible. We had 2 days reserved, and when we were leaving the first day, we made sure that we could leave our suitcases and other items inside the room. And we were told everything was fine to leave them there. When we returned, the service people had taken all of our stuff out of the room and piled it in a maintenance room. We also realized that the night clerk hadn't properly checked us in. The day clerk tried to make it our fault until I told her that her night clerk was completely at fault, not us. Then she stopped arguing with us. Long story short, we left shortly thereafter, and we won't be back. 1 out of 5. This Carlos Delgado one looks, I read through it a couple times. He's got some videos on Google reviews if you want to look at that. It's pretty interesting. Basically, they argued about a refund, and he got it on video about how rude they were. Couple pictures. This lady, apparently, quite mean. Be warned, this hotel requires a cash deposit of $100 to $150. After a grueling day of travel, I was told that my card could not be used to pay the deposit. My choices were to find an ATM or find another hotel. The woman at the desk was rude and unapologetic about this terrible inconvenience for guests. People traveling for business rely on cards for documentation of expenses and do not carry cash. Does anybody carry cash? I've not experienced this strict policy before, especially at a rundown hotel. Management has no interest in helping guests have a good stay. They will make up lies so they don't have to return your deposit. Be advised, they won't allow any visitors for any reason. They threaten to call the police with bogus claims of drugs being used in the rooms unless we paid them more money. Finally, they wouldn't allow us to gather our personal belongings from the room, including over $100 of groceries we had just purchased this morning. Not happy. This one was kind of interesting. Most likely gay or trans discrimination. I'm from Billings, Montana, and I'm in town for work installing retail IT equipment. I had a reservation in the Royal Hotel in Midvale. The lady checking me in refused me service, demanding a cash deposit of $150. Of course, this was news to me. I verified with my booking agent, whom indicated that no such policy was in place, and the use of company credit card was unacceptable. Just like every hotel I've ever stayed in before. The hotel refused to answer the telephone when the booking agent attempted calling. Worse, they refused to refund my money and charged my credit card additional fees for cancellation. I've never been to Salt Lake City before. Stay far away from this dive. Let's take a look at one more here. We checked in on a Friday and checked out on Sunday. We found out at checkout we had to pay a cleaning deposit and was told we would get it back at checkout. We had gotten a room with 2 beds and told them 2 other people were staying there also, and the lady who helped us check in said it was okay and that we could have them stay too. The room had stains on the carpet, a bathtub had paint drippings all over it, and the door wouldn't latch unless we pushed it closed. When we checked out, the man working said we couldn't get our deposit back because we had 2 other people in the room with us. And when we got upset about it because we were told it was okay, he told my boyfriend to go outside so he could whoop his ass. We've never had to pay a cash deposit at a hotel before, and now we are out our deposit. The customer service was horrible, and they refused to give us more than 1 room key. Yeah, a lot of these reviews are pretty much what we experienced on our trip as well. When we arrived, we were greeted by, we arrived around a little before 10 o'clock. Greeted by a man named Sam, who had a giant dog behind the counter. Now, normally, dogs don't bother me too much, but this was a big German Shepherd. Although he didn't act really very aggressive or anything, it was just quite intimidating to have the thing standing there at the counter while he was checking us in. His attitude was a little bit disgruntled, I would say, and he really seemed kind of inconvenienced that he had to even get up and come give us our room key. On that check-in, he did not ask for any type of deposit, but we did notice that there was a sign saying that there was a cash deposit. I wish we'd gotten a picture of it, but we didn't. But he never asked for it. He never asked for an ID either. And some of those reviews say they have had issues with them checking IDs and whatnot. So that was kind of interesting. Overall impression when you walked in was that it was fully smelling of incense and urine would be my guess. I don't know, but it didn't smell very good. Walking down the hall to my room, when I got into the room, it also was heavily perfumed. Kind of stuffy. Looked like it was from, like, I don't know, the 1970s, as you can see in the picture I brought up here. So this is about 30 minutes after we had gotten into the room. You can see my CPAP machines hooked up there. I'll get into why that picture is there, because if you look on either side of the bed, there is a light switch right here and here. These should connect to an outlet that's underneath this little desk, but the outlet doesn't work. And it doesn't matter if you flip the switches, it still doesn't work. So it's pretty much useless. If you look at these two light switches on the wall, these control the lights up here on the ceiling. This one for this one, and the left side for the left side. The one on this left did actually work. The one on the right did not work. I was surprised to find that most of the outlets in the room did not work at all. The TV one, we had to unplug the TV just to plug in my machine for the night so that we could stay. And let's see, here's the next picture. This one shows the bathroom door. You see how it's ajar right here? That's because it won't close. It's all messed up. I have another video of that, but you can also see quite a few patches in the wall. Like, there were some others that were on another wall. This is the remote control and what it looked like when we first got into the room. It's visibly broken. I could not put it back together because it was broken. Therefore, pretty much making the TV useless because you couldn't even turn it on or change the channels without the remote. Yeah. Here's the bathroom door. We got a real winner here, let me tell you. The door doesn't even hang right on the freaking bathroom. Yeah, you physically had to pull it shut really hard. It wasn't easy. Like, I can't even imagine what it'd be like if you had kids in this room, but I would highly suggest not even taking kids to this hotel. It was pretty bad. Next couple pictures here are actually of the roof or the ceiling inside the bathroom. So this was right above the shower. You can see the shower curtain right here. This is the inside. This is the outside. Here's more mildew, mold, peeling paint. Just gross. Here's what looks like to be some paint spatter all over the back door to the bathroom, the back side of the door. Here's the TV. So here's the one that's supposedly supposed to work. I don't know because I didn't have a remote to turn it on. What I find interesting is they left this bracket up here. It's clearly too large for the size of TV that's here. They just leave it hanging there like it's, what is it supposed to be, like a decoration or something, because it looks like garbage. How's anybody supposed to sleep with that noise? Yeah, so that was the refrigerator, as you can tell. It made that noise even after having stuff in it. Looks old, was old. Obviously was having some issues with the compressor. This is the chair, the one and only chair that's in the room. Goes up to a desk, built-in desk. At first I thought this was just like some paint splatter, but it's not. It is what appears to be maybe some yogurt or some ice cream, or who knows. And who knows how long it's been there. You can also see the chair is all chipped up at the top here, worn out. If you actually looked at the legs, they were also somewhat broken. I was surprised it was even holding together. But you could tell the cleanliness is not really priority here. This was my bedspread. There was actually more than one of these holes. Now, I don't know if these are cigarette holes or what, but that's what they appeared to be. There were several of them. I only took a picture of one. But that was our room. There was a lot of other things. Stains on the floors. And lots of stuff. Lots of patches on the wall from holes that were patched. Just not very clean. Stains on the pillowcases. Stains on the towels. A lot of the stuff that people have talked about in the other reviews. And there were also some remnants. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, yes. Right here, you can still see everything's branded like Super 8. Right here. We saw that a few times at different places, which is strange because I called trying to actually cancel this reservation on our way down to Utah, and nobody would answer the telephone at the hotel. I called Super 8 because they were the last one. Well, they had it listed as an alternate number for the hotel, and Super 8 says they're no longer affiliated, do not own the property, but yeah, they're still marketing as Super 8 stuff. Alright, so this is actually... The next morning we decided to check out because we weren't going to stay there. After hearing all the horror stories on the reviews I'd read the night before, we just decided it was in our best interest not to stay. And knowing I probably would not get my refund back, even though Expedia was trying to contact them to issue a refund. The results of that is they never ever were able to get a hold of the hotel. Big surprise. Anyway, when we went to check out, the gentleman who was also the person who checked us in the night before was in the back on a phone call, screaming at somebody on the phone. I don't know what they were saying because it was obviously not in English. And he hung up. I'd been out there for probably 5 minutes listening to it. And he decided it was time to take the dog out for a stroll. So what he ended up doing was coming out front. He asked me if I needed something, and I said, no, I'm just waiting for my wife. And he put a collar on the dog and a leash, and proceeded to exit from behind the counter. When he did that, the dog actually barked at me and lunged at me 3 times. And he had to hold it back from even getting to me, which is more than a little unnerving. Definitely aggressive. Not appropriate to be there. And he didn't really care. He was rude. Just decided he was going to go leave anyways. And told me he would be back later. And so I took a video of some of the stuff that's in the front desk because I thought that it was interesting. First of all, you're going to see is appears to be a copy machine. You can see it has a sign there. It says, under maintenance, please do not use out of service. Thank you, management. Now, I believe this is part of their business center that they claim that they have. But what good is it if it's broken? It doesn't really make sense. Let's check out the next thing. You see that sign says, sorry, cats are not allowed, which I found quite interesting because they market themselves as a pet-friendly hotel, but apparently it can't be a cat. So don't bring your cat if you plan on staying here because they won't allow it. Here is a sign. Notice it says Super 8 Motel Management again. We're currently away from the desk and we'll be right back to assist you. This was sitting there before he ever came out. So it didn't seem or or act like, didn't really seem like he was there to serve anybody. He was pretty much already gone and didn't really care either. Here's another list of rules that they have, and it's a little hard to see a lot of it, but basically no visitors were allowed. You cannot have people there. This next section says quiet. Basically they want everybody to be quiet. Don't congregate in the halls. Don't run in the halls. Don't turn up your TV. And if you experience any type of noise issues, you're supposed to either call the front desk or come see them in person. Somehow I think they probably wouldn't do anything about it if you did, but that's just my opinion. Room keys is basically just says that if you lost your room key, it's going to require ID to get a duplicate, and they will not issue any to anybody who's under 18, and that you are only going to get one. And of course, enjoy your stay. Thank you for your cooperations. This was the pet policy. Basically stating this is an animal policy for the Super 8 motel in Midvale. Again, Super 8, not the Royal Inn. Guest must notify the front desk when checking in with an animal. The cost is $25 per night per animal and is required at check-in. By the way, none of this is on the website. None of it when you book it. It doesn't say anything about that. Animal must be leashed, held, and confined at all times. Guest is responsible for maintaining control of the animal, which I find funny because the guy who had his dog couldn't even hardly control his. But animals are not allowed in the breakfast or pool areas. I didn't look at the pool, but I probably wouldn't want to. And as far as the breakfast area, well, they didn't serve any, so I don't know what that was a big deal. I went and poked my head in there, and it was just full of stuff. The whole area. Animals are not to be left in any room unattended. If left unattended and causing a disturbance, guests will be contacted. If unavailable to contact guests, local animal control may be called. I suppose that's probably reasonable. Assigned room will be inspected for possible damages caused by having an animal in the room. If there are damages in the room or public areas, guests will be charged for any repairs and or replacement needed. A number where guests may be reached while residing at the property. There's so much damage to the rooms, I don't know how they could tell what had been damaged by a person or an animal, or that wasn't already existing. So I find that quite interesting as well. They have that in there. Check in and check out times. So right here, I want to pause because this is an ATM machine. Now remember how I said they were charging people a $100 cash deposit? Well, how convenient that they put an ATM machine right in their own lobby. It's going to charge you an extra charge to get the $100, and then they're going to keep the $100 with some weird excuse on why they can't give it back to you when you check out. Now, again, me and my wife did not pay that $100 because they didn't ask for it, and I wasn't going to give it to them. Another reason why we checked out the next morning was because I had fear that they were going to ask for it, and I wasn't going to give it to them. And I wasn't going to deal with them trying to keep my stuff. So after we came back from the day or whatever, because there was another review where that had happened to somebody. Wish I had found that one. But anyways, we just weren't going to take that risk. We had a few $1,000s worth of camera equipment, medical equipment, and other things that I just was not going to deal with. Otherwise, this elevator also did not work. I tried to test it. It did not work. And that's pretty much the end of that video. I do have a couple of other videos, and we tested out all the ADA, the automatic doors and whatnot. I have some other videos I'm going to show that my wife took, and that show kind of her experience with not only the back door, which is on the back side of the property that should be locked at night, but also with the front doors where you should be able to automatically open the doors for ADA, but we were unable to. Alright, here's the videos that my wife took of the back door. That's the first video. The second video will be the front door. So let's take a look.
Hotels have more security than it says, like, do not use this door after 8. Well, I came in here last night. This door looks okay from this side, but look at this right here. There's like nothing there. And so I saw somebody come in without even using their card key, and I was like, okay, so what's up with that? But see, nothing to stop it. So I'm quite sure, and I don't see how else this door isn't just open all night long.
Yeah, so as you can see, this hotel's got a lot of problems, and I also know they're hard to work with. Like I said, my experience with them was that I had to call Expedia. It was supposed to contact Royal Inn. They tried for over 4 days to try and get a hold of the Royal Inn, and were never able to get a hold of them to issue a refund or talk to them or anything. We tried to call the Royal Inn. The service says that it's disconnected if you call. Nobody ever answers the phone. So it just seems really shady. I also did find a picture of the sign. The famous sign. We take a deposit from all guests. It is $100 and it's cash only. Have a great stay. So there you go. Proof in the pudding. I mean, it seems really sketchy that they would have a $100 cash deposit they never let you know about, especially if you book it online. They just surprise you with it when you get there. And from what I can tell, most of the time they try and hang on to it by any means possible. So that's my review. We're going to wrap up this video. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. And we will see you again.